I think we're live. It's not quite
Hey,
on the phone, but good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've got the lovely Dan with me here. We're going to be talking about all things Everton tonight, and unfortunately, it is going to be discussing primarily the Richarlison saga, and it does feel like a bit of a saga, Dan, doesn't it? It's been going on for a little while now, and it's safe to say, actually, we just want the deal done, don't we? Now, I think we don't want it to spin out and drag on any longer than it needs to be done.
I think it's been a proper roller coaster, hasn't it? Because we had little signs from Richarlison that made us think he was going to stay during this holiday period because he started putting up pictures like with an Everton top on, and you're thinking he's not leaving, he's going to stay because we all didn't want him to leave. We don't exactly know the situation. We'll go through it now, like what we think the situation is, why we think he's left, but. It's a roller coaster of thoughts. It really is, because you've got to accept it, but it is a heartbreak. How are
Mm,
you feeling on this, Ryan?
yeah, I mean, I can understand, Dan. I mean, there's many aspects to this deal that I'm going to go through, but the reality is, Richarlison is a good player at the end of the day, and he improves our rival, and he significantly weakens us. And if that's looking at it in a quite a summarized way, the money we're getting for him, I don't know whether it's going to be reinvested because the talk of that we had to sell someone to comply with FFP, um, which in turn confuses me more because Richarlison actually cost us 45 million. This isn't pure profit as if we were to sell Calvert-Lewin or Gordon. This is a player that we paid a lot of money for, and the reality is we're not really making any money on. So it makes me think, why is this for FFP? Now, I then think, is this Richarlison wanting to go? Now, if I were Richarlison, yes, Spurs have got a good coach and a good stadium and are in Champions League. But I would say there's more longevity in a move to Real Madrid, AC Milan, Chelsea. And to me, maybe Spurs are at the top of the game now. But I think even Richarlison 12 months ago would have said, he was looking for one of the super clubs. It hasn't quite come off for him. Probably hasn't done enough to justify a move to one of them in terms of goals and assist output. But look, at the end of the day, I want to know, have we been forced to sell this player for financial reasons, or has he pushed his way out?
Well, the thing is, we told ourselves that the deal wasn't done, but I honestly feel now, do you know when something happens and everything comes together? I feel that Richarlison had already made this agreement at the end of the season. When he did that thing in the changing room with the ice, chucking it all over everyone, and Lampard pulled him out, it was kind of like a leaving part for Richarlison. That was like Lampard already knew the situation that he was leaving. It just, people did say it at the time, but I told myself, I thought, you know what? That's not him leaving. That's just everyone loves Richarlison. And then Richarlison after went out to the fans with the little kid, and it
Mm,
looked like he was saying bye. But once again, because we love him, we tried to think that he wasn't leaving. But on the FFP that you've just said, I do believe that the people owning our club have put us in a situation where we have to sell him. I don't know whether you've heard, but a lot of stuff going on Twitter has said that if we didn't sell him on this deadline, we broke FFP rules and we would have got a sanction. We would have got something would have happened. So for our club to have put us in that situation where we've got to do something last minute, and bring in money, otherwise you break. What are they doing? Like, it really does make me frustrated with them, because it started for me. I'm frustrated with Richarlison for leaving just because I love him and I wanted him to stay, because I think sometimes us
mm.
loving him should be enough for him to stay. But then I also think to myself, like, is it a situation where Richarlison's been told you've got to leave?
Yeah. Uh, I don't know. I mean, we in the space of 12 months, we've lost James, Luka Dean, and now Richarlison. Three players that I think are the bedrock of a side that could compete for at least top 8, even Europa League. So it infuriates me that another player that is good enough for our objective, that is going. And ultimately, over the years, I think players that are at the top of their game that outgrow us, And I mean John Stones, Lukaku, Ross Barkley, Wayne Rooney, Idrissa Gueye, Arteta. All of them hurt to leave because they were good players for us. I think he is in that category. He's one of a few players that I think fits the talismanic Everton idol, sort of epitomises the fan base and actually is a player that the fans like. And believe me, there isn't a lot of them that the fans really connect with. But
it's true. What it's true.
What I'm trying
it's
to
true.
say,
Go on.
we've had players. We fail to supplement them with players of a similar standard. So instead of saying to Lukaku and Stones and Barkley, look, you three stay, I will pay you whatever the other clubs are paying you, and I will build around you, and I will bring in players of your quality, and we'll achieve it here. Instead, we continue to sell our best players, and we don't replace them well. So I don't care whether we get 60 million for Richarlison now, because I know that the board, if it is to invest in other players, I don't trust them to buy well. Now, if you look at
No,
talk
it
about it,
is
I hate saying this
a
now.
bit risky. It looks like you've just froze there, Ryan. But it is risky because we don't know what we're going to do with the money. That is a big part of the worry for me, where you think to yourself, "Oh, you're back now, yeah."
I can hear you. I can see
Yeah,
you.
you went out then, you just froze, but you just don't know what we're going to do with the money. It's like you say, I didn't want the money. And the thing, when you was just talking and I was coming into it, because you made a really good point when Lukaku went and our big players went, it feels like, do you know when you've got a good player in your team, like say Lukaku, say Richarlison, you having that one good player in your team, you always want to get your team to their standard. It always gives you that hope saying, I want to get a good team around Richarlison to Richarlison's standard. I want to get our team as good as Lukaku was for us. And that's how you feel. You've got that hope because you've got that good player in your team and you want to be that standard that they are. And the fact Everton at the minute have stripped all the good players. Like you say, our left back's gone to Villa, Rodriguez went, Richarlison's we have seriously been stripped at the minute.
We are in a mess because the way I see it, and it might be quite cynical, but Michaelenko's got a lot of development to do in terms of offensively. We don't know whether Patterson is good enough yet. We can't sign another right back because we've still got Seamus Coleman and we've bought Patterson. So we're gambling on him. And then we've got Yerry Mina. Is he going to stay fit? Who's going to take a risk to sign him? Michael Keane, I can't watch him anymore. I'm sorry. I've had him year after year. Mason Holgate. I know what I'm going to get from these. And I genuinely believe now with Richarlison going, if we don't buy anyone, we'll be favourites for relegation next season because Richarlison was massive for us in staying up. You know, let's not beat around the bush. He was missing for about 6 months and then came in and I think he got 10 goals, did he?
That's that. I'm seeing on what you've just said, I'm seeing a lot of people pull out the stats of Richarlison. And we know overall it wasn't the best stats because we always said Richarlison has potential, but he could do better. And then, but for me, the stats that I look at is what you've just said, those stats in the relegation battle at the very end when you needed him, the form that he was at the end. And I think he was just starting to be the Richarlison that we wanted. And that's what hurts a little bit because he was good.
He'll be a better player. By the way, I need to drop out the stream in a second to share this to a few places because I'm on my phone. So I'll leave you to talk for like 2 minutes. But Richarlison is a player that will play better with better players around him, where he's not frustrated because he's not getting the ball. And listen, I think with Richarlison, he's an ideal player to play in a narrow front three, i.e. left side of a centre forward or right side of a centre forward, where he can tuck in and get on the end of crosses. Now, he's very good in the air. We didn't utilise that once all season.
Really good in the air.
Very good at scoring headers, and he didn't have a single one last season, which is pathetic because we lost all our deliveries from the left. We had no one who could cross the ball. And I don't care what you say about Michaelenko. I don't think he really crossed the ball, or Gordon or Gray when they played there. There was no service. Richarlison is very good in the air. I think he'd be very good in a side where he can play in a narrow front three and you've got fullbacks who can actually get forward and get to the byline and provide that width for the team. And I think he will absolutely thrive at Tottenham. with Son, with Kane. He's going to rotate with Perisic and Kulevski or whatever his name is. And they've got a very good front three there. And really, Spurs over the 10 years have done what we were trying to do. We were in a bad position. We were actually better than Tottenham for years. We were around 5th. They were around 6th. We were kind of in a bit of a battle with Tottenham and Villa. We got the money. We've fallen off a cliff. Spurs got the money. They've gradually progressed. And I think for 6-7 years, there's been a level of consistency where they are an established top 6 team. And the thing is it creates a huge gap. It really does create a huge gap. Because believe me, I think the owners do want to invest in Everton and buy players. Aren't.
I think that's what's so frustrating for us is that it's Spurs that he's going to. It would have been easier to accept if it was a team where you actually thought they was going to win the Champions League. But if you go back to Carlo, when we under that period, we was on par with Spurs. We was on par with Spurs, and I feel like at that moment, if we would have made the signings that Spurs have made now, we would be doing what they're doing, and that's what hurts so much because Spurs are being what we wanted to be. I mean, we've needed a number 6 for so long. We've been crying out for a number 6, saying we need good centre midfielders, and we've been saying it for ages. And then I looked at Basuma myself for a long time, and I thought he was class. He was really, really good, and I thought I'd love a player like Basuma. And but I thought he cost a lot. And then Tottenham go and buy him for 25 million. And we spent that sort of money, and you think, why didn't we buy someone like that? It could sort us out, someone like that. And then now they've gone and brought Richarlison, and they are being the team that I thought we could be. So Ryan's just sharing this with a few people. He's back now. Yeah, but I was just saying, Ryan, Spurs are being the team that I feel like we should have been with the right moves.
I heard it all. And this is the difference when you've got, and I have tried to stay really neutral because I'm running this channel. And ideally, I don't want to be overly opinionated on the owners and stuff. But you look at Daniel Levy, all I can say is that negotiation, getting deals done, getting players in, getting the right players in, understanding of football, he delivered on the stadium. You're talking about an elite owner there, an elite chairman, someone who knows what they're doing. And look, we were taking the piss out of Bill Kenwright before on the call. I did the impression. Look, it was in good faith. It wasn't a
if you don't laugh, I said in a comment, if you don't laugh, you cry. It is literally, you've got to make a joke of it. It is that much of a joke, what they've done.
It was satire. We did a video. We had all the jokes in it. It was satirical. It's not a personal attack, but we have to laugh, because if we don't laugh at the situation, we'll get very depressed. Now, I personally found it difficult all that season to come on here to run an Everton channel. And I know Everton Rose is watching, and I'm sure she shares the sentiment. It's very difficult to come on and talk about it. It's very draining, demoralizing. And I know a lot of the people who subscribe, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and share and invite your friends on. I know you find it comfort, maybe misery loves company, but it's difficult to talk about them. And I felt like the past 6 weeks would be, the break of the season, I felt like it would be a little nice bit of respite for us to just relax, enjoy the summer, shift some of the deadwood that we don't want, move them on, and bring in better players. But I'm now concerned that Everton are doing the complete opposite of what we need to do, which is to sell our actual assets and replace them with other clubs' deadwood. Now, the Richarlison one, I think, is going to hit everyone hard because, yes, I don't think it is even about his footballing ability, because you can sign a player abroad for 50 million who will get us more than 10 goals next season. I've got no doubt someone out there will do it. We'll find them. The problem is you're competing with a lot of other clubs. So we often get third or fourth choice. But it was the fact that he embodies the fan base. It was like a fan on the pitch, the way he came across, with the passion, with the desire to do well. And losing that, it hurts, I think, a little bit. And
it does. It's like with Tim Cahill, he was another example. He was a big chunk of Everton to the fans. And with Richarlison, I'll give some examples. We had the Richarlison song. That song we sang nearly every game, and we loved the song, and Richarlison loved the song, and it sounded, he's Brazilian, you know what I mean? It sounded amazing in the stadium. And a song really does make you connect to the player. If you've got a song for your player, it feels good to sing it, and it makes you love the player. And we had that with Richarlison. We had the song. I know it's a small thing, but a song with a player is a big thing. It gave us the connection. And then he reacted to the fans. He loved the fans. Well, he acted like he loved the fans. I presume he did. And that made us connect with him more. So like you've just said, it's not so much his statistics, because you can say some bad things about him. It's just how much we love him. That's what makes it hurt.
Yeah.
We're losing a big chunk of a player.
Dan, if I'm trying to look at this objectively, and I will come to the comments, please keep them coming in.
Keep them coming.
When I am trying to look at this objectively, if I strip all the emotion out of this and say, okay, yes, he was an Evertonian, yes, he embodied the fans, he was passionate, we've got players who aren't like that. If we strip the emotional side of it and look at him in terms of what he brought on the pitch, and I don't want to sound bitter or negative here, but he's not very quick for a forward. He's quite strong, but I don't think he always uses physicality. And he wastes a lot of chances that he does get. At the same time, he does well. You know, he does well to take some of the chances that aren't. I think he's just an inconsistent striker. But what I'm trying to get at really is he's not quite an out-and-out winger that's going to beat players, run past them, whip a ball in. You know, he's not like a traditional wide man. And he's not really a striker that's going to score 15 goals a season. I actually think maybe at Spurs he'll probably hit 15 goals anyway because he's with better players and a better team. He's going to a better job. But the point I'm making is he doesn't come across like a specialist striker or a specialist winger. And you could argue that at Everton, where we don't have the budget, you need players who can play in several positions. Just to play devil's advocate here and to say, okay, well, let's look at this objectively. We could probably get a better wide player than Richarlison for 50 million comfortably, who will create goals with pace, be better on the counter-attack, because his decision-making isn't that good. His counter-attacking play isn't that good. He's not that quick, and he's not that good of a crosser. He's very tenacious. He works hard. He scores goals. But then I look at it in terms of a centre-forward. I think 50 million will get you a better centre-forward, an out-and-out goal scorer as well, who will... But I just think the problem with Everton is, no offence, but we're very narrow-minded in the transfer market. It's always players surplus at other clubs, you know, that have been offered to you by agents. It's never like, I'm going to look in Portugal. Who are the best players in Portugal right now? Obviously,
we're very safe. We're very safe in that transfer window. I think that's how I would put it. We're safe. We'll go for a player that's quite old, got experience, and has a bit of a name. And we won't take a risk on someone that's young, that has loads of potential, that hasn't got a name. And I'd like us to take more risks on players because sometimes it will pay off. And we used to do it back in the day with Stones and all that. Like it ended up paying off. There was worth a lot of money. Anthony Gordon, he's becoming a good player. We need to take risks. It's going to be really interesting to see what we do in this winter. And what you said on the Richarlison, like, you can replace him, but it's just because I love him, and it's because he was coming into form just at the end of the season. I don't think he's going to be the same player. I think he's going to go to Spurs and be a better player because, let's face it, Richarlison kept us up. You take away Richarlison's goals, and we went down. We did. He turned up and he scored some big goals. That goal to make it a draw against Crystal Palace under big pressure, amazing goal. And he did it quite a few times. You just gave out the statistics of how many goals he scored towards the end. He can be good.
Well, though, Dan, a few penalties is a part of this. And I also just want to ask our watchers, because you look very fuzzy here, and I don't know whether it's my internet. Can you see us both clearly? Can someone please reply and let us know? Can you see us both clear?
I can see myself. I can see you.
You can see me clearly.
I can see both things clearly. So if it's coming on my screen, as is on my screen, then it's bang on for everyone.
Okay.
Depends what they can see, not me.
I completely lost my train of thought with the Richarlison. I had something to say and I can't remember. Is it the fact that our expectations have just been lowered and lowered and lowered over the years, that we cling on to any half-decent player?
I don't know. I just think it's because he cared. He put 100% in. And a lot of the time with our players, just over the last couple of seasons, we haven't seen 100%, and he put 100% in. If you've got fight, we're going to love you. And it's the same with a lot of players. If they fight, we are going to love you. But does he say mine's fuzzy?
Can you come in and back? Can you come out and then back in?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Sorry about that. He was fuzzy for me, and I wasn't sure whether it was just my internet because I'm still in the car. I've got all your comments here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ryan saying hi. Good evening, Ryan. Brian saying end of the day he wants success. It's a better job. It's a better job, and you have to look at this objectively as a footballer. You get a short career. He hasn't got the time to wait for us to get into the new stadium and whether we can then compete. Spurs are ready-made in the Champions League. They probably just need, well, they needed 2, 3, 4 players really to compete on all four in all competitions. And I think signing Richarlison and Basuma and Perisic, etc., is going to springboard them into competing for trophies, which is a sad sight to see. But you know, a footballer for him, it's a job. He's going to get more money there, I imagine. Although I do think Everton probably could have matched his salary. I don't think Spurs play massive wages. I think we could have competed maybe on the salary front, but certainly, you know, we're not quite the level of them at the moment. And he wants to go and achieve things now. I just think in terms of trophies, he'd be better off probably going elsewhere than Spurs. They haven't won anything since 2008. They haven't really won an awful lot. Of course, Everton have won more first divisions, etc., etc. They've been historically the more successful club. But it just proves that being a museum, you know, isn't the be all and end all. You have to do things now. I want to know what people's thoughts are on the consortium, the American consortium. I know we've been talking about it quite a lot. For me, I think it's a bit sus that the whole thing is out in public. So public, very, very strange, very bizarre. And how much money have these people actually got? You know, I don't know anything about them. Can't seem to find an awful lot about them. How much money have they got? Because £1 billion isn't quite enough. Hi, Rose. She's saying, who would you replace Richarlison with? This is a really good question. I was actually going to pie this one off to Dan. I know there's talk of Emmanuel Dennis, but he's had one season at Watford. Yes, 10 goals. Yes, more assists. Yes, he's looked more dynamic in a poor team. But, you know, before that, didn't do an awful lot with his career. I think he had no goals. Was it in Italy, maybe? So I don't know about Dennis. And I think Everton just fall into the traps of going, right, Man City, who do you want rid of? Chelsea, who do you want rid of? Now, there's players at Chelsea, actually, Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, who would help. But I've said this time and time again, if we've got 50 million in the bank, I would be throwing 35 million at Conor Gallagher at Chelsea because we need a very dynamic box-to-box player who's tenacious, who's good at scoring goals. I think he would be a marquee signing for us. I think the fans would absolutely love him. And then I'd say I've got 20 million now. We desperately need a defensive midfielder. But then it's how do we sign? Because I look at this and think, blimey, we need to replace Richarlison's goals because if Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit again or doesn't play well, you know, you've just got Rondon. We also need more quality in midfield. I mean, we haven't got anyone who can pass the ball forwards. And then you'd argue we need another wide player because Richarlison was covering out wide and we haven't quite got the consistency from Damari Gray or from Anthony Gordon. We haven't quite got the consistency from our current wide players, so you'd argue we need a winger. You'd also say, I mean, you solve the problem of passing the ball with Christian Eriksen. You've also got the issue in defence. Now, I think even Tarkovsky coming in, I think we still need another defender because I just worry. I think they are a liability, a lot of them. I'm concerned. Now, I think Zinchenko covers the left back cover, also can play midfield. I think he'd be very, very useful. Conor Gallagher in midfield, I think would chip in with 8 to 10 goals from midfield and provide a lot more quality, and he can defend. And then Christian Eriksen, on a free transfer is a complete no-brainer. I think we should just fight tooth and nail to get him, because if we can't pay the transfer fees, we just have to, buy these players, pay the wages, and look for free transfers. Dembele at Barcelona's for sale. It's unrealistic, but again, we've got to look in this free transfer market and maybe make some judgments on who we can bring in. Yeah, we talked before about bringing in the young players. Historically, Everton have done better signing the young, promising players who are not quite ready for the first team at other clubs. Chelsea's Conor Gallagher, for me, fits that bill. Lukaku was in that similar frame of mind a few years ago. He was a similar sort of prospect. John Stone's obviously up and coming at Barnsley. We have to kind of get back to that and supplement some senior players with these types of players. Dan, I'm just saying, if you're asking me here, and I know some will say it is just very short-sighted again, but Christian Eriksen, Zinchenko, and Conor Gallagher, in there, you get the three of them for 50 million combined, and then go and sign a striker and maybe a defender on a free, Christensen at Chelsea perhaps, and just I think immediately that you've got a stronger squad. You're trying to make a sad situation into something positive.
Well, I'm gonna put a real positive spin on this now, because I'm depressed, but you know me, I don't go down without a fight. And I've just got a new phone. Well, I'll put the other phone on now, better picture. We are in a bad situation, but we have got some young players. This is time for the young players to step up and help us out, because we ain't going to be able to bring in the players that we want. You've just reeled off some cracking players. If we get them, we are very lucky. We can't rely on luck. So this is where what we've got to use, because we've got 2 years. We'll be in that new stadium in 2 years' time. We'll be turning over better things then. And with FFP, with us doing business like we're doing, selling Richarlison and being clever, FFP will be sorted out. Maybe then in 2 years' time, we can chuck 100 million on players and actually be sensible this time, not waste the money. Because who knows? We have signed Patterson. He could step up this season. He could come out all guns blazing and be an incredible right back. Mikalenko, yes, he was better and he's getting better. We've got to hope. We've just got to hope and trust that he's going to be a good player. Branthwaite, whether he goes or not, I don't know. But Branthwaite could be a really good centre back going forward. Godfrey, we know there is a good player in Godfrey, and maybe Tarkowski could put his arm around him and say, right, let's boss it centre back, me and you, let's smash it this season. And if he does get the best Godfrey that we've seen, our defence will be good. So let's not worry about that too much. We've got a winger with Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon is going to be class. Hit me on it if I'm wrong, but trust me, he will be class. He's fast, he can take on players. The only thing he's missing is the final product and scoring goals, but that will come with games, right? That will come. So we've got Gordon there, good player. Damari Gray, yes, he tailed off at the end, but he had a good season. He showed some good patches. He destroyed Arsenal, and he was good. We have to see the best in our players, and we've got to get behind them because they need us. Because, like you said, we can just be disappointed and be in a relegation battle, or we can that relegation battle that we was in can be a blessing in disguise. I said earlier on to a few Everton fans on the space, I says that Chelsea game, make our players remember there was in that relegation battle, because I want to start the season like we want to stay up. And if you start the season with fight like you want to stay up, you'll end up mid-table or higher, because you'll be starting all guns blazing. Because a lot of teams don't start well, because we've got some good fixtures we've gone through. We've got Chelsea, but then we've got some nice fixtures. And if you start well in the Premier League, it's good. We started well under Carlo, as you remember, and it really does help. Calvert-Lewin might be a one that I didn't say as well. Calvert-Lewin and Tom Davies, you could see the shape that they was in when they are training. I've never seen them train so hard. I don't know whether it's because people have said, like last season, they're down and they're out. Like Tom Davies is finished, Calvert-Lewin's leaving, he doesn't care. But something has triggered them on motivation. I am confident that they're going to be the best they can be. And we've just got to be positive for me. If we do bring in a few gems around them, we might just be strong. We've just got to be solid until we can get into that new stadium, until FFP has gone. If we can create a good base for that and bring in the gems later on, it can turn around. We've just got to ride this roller coaster and stick in there and be positive. But on the Richarlison thing, in a minute. I said earlier on my Twitter, we don't know whether it's good or bad he's leaving. We've got mixed emotions. But for me, Richarlison did keep us up. And I've got here Jameson. And I've got me shot glass. And I'll play a bit of music in a minute on the channel. And I will have a shot for Richarlison for keeping us up. Because, yes, it hurts he's leaving. It really does hurt that he's leaving. I'm not going to lie, I'm brokenhearted. I've got to take my pinned tweet down that's got 2,000 likes of a busker singing his song that just sounds incredible. I've got to take that down. And I was going to take it down a minute ago, but it's so hard to take down because I love him. I do love Richarlison. And I've got to take that down, and he's gone, and he's not ours anymore. And it is heartbreaking. So I will have a shot, and I will say thank you, Richarlison, for keeping us up, because he did keep us up. If he wasn't with us at the end of last season, we would be in the Championship. Things would be a lot worse. So we are saying things are bad, but they're a lot better than what they would have been if we didn't have Richarlison. So I'm gutted. I'm angry with him that he's left. He should have stayed, but I'm going to have a shot and say thank you, because I do appreciate what he did, even though he's leaving.
Very mature of you. I'm not sure everyone's going to see the same. They'll be saying anyone who leaves Everton can...
A lot are saying the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be people... We can still respect him and love him as a footballer and as a person, and be absolutely furious that we're in a position where we're selling players that we need to be keeping in order to do anything. But look, Everton are in an absolute mess. We're in an absolute mess. And the lad wants to go and play in a better team and win stuff, or try and win stuff and play Champions League. We can't stand in his way, because he's given us 4 years of service. He's come to try and compete for Champions League for Europe here. It's been a mess. And we've got to start again. We've absolutely got to start again. So you have your drink.
Well, I'm going to get my music. We'll be back, though. We'll be back. It is frustrating. It is a mess. But I do feel that we will be back. You can't give up. We're still in the Premier League, and FFP will sort out new owners as well. Do you want to talk about them while I just get my music ready?
I don't want to hear too much longer that song, Dan. I'm telling you now. I'm going to turn it
I'm
off.
going to play my Richarlison song. That's my tweet, mate. I've said this. I've got to play it. We've got to say goodbye. Here we go. I'll play my Richarlison song, and I'll pour me shot. But it is gutted. We tell ourselves we're all right, but we're gutted because
I'm
someone
pissed off
put...
because he's a few players. That
Here we go. Can you hear it? Here it is. My ice is melted.
You're brave, man.
Here we go. Get ready.
You're my sugar.
Sprite. Jameson. Sealed. He's Brazilian. Cost 50 million.
The Spurs fans are going to be singing
Are you ready?
all the time.
There you go, Jameson. Whiskey.
They're good singing this, Dan, and you're going to hate it. You're never going
Here
to
we
hear
go.
it.
I haven't drank in 5 years. But Richarlison's leaving.
What?
I'm probably going to be drunk. You'll see me get drunk straight away on the channel.
Make sure you're down and tell him to fuck off.
I'll be like, I love you, Richarlison. Don't leave, Richarlison. I love you.
He was renting a house, Joe Cole. I don't know why.
Here's video. Strong.
Just fucking down it so we can move on.
I think when I was doing that, I poured too much. I got excited and nervous and poured too much. That's a strong one. Right, Richarlison, thanks for keeping us up. I'm gutted you're leaving. You should have stayed. I'm angry. But I'm not going to go around your house and moan. I'm just going to accept it. We're going to be a good Everton. And this is my toast. We're going to be a good Everton. You're going to regret leaving us. Because when we're in that new stadium and we've got some good players... That's the guy who gives
Bird's new boyfriend a hand carrying her bags.
You're going to regret it, Richarlison. When we're in that new stadium, we've got good players. You're going to regret it. Here we go. Look at this. Dumbo. You see it? Dumbo.
We've got people banging on you every move, Dan.
Whoa, that's woo, woohoo! I feel emotional already now. That's just completely depressed me. How do you feel?
Dan, I'm going to be honest with you. The minute he signs for Spurs, I'm blocking him and I'm forgetting he existed. And I don't often do that with a lot of players, but I did that with Lukaku. I did that with Barkley. I did that with Luka Dean. And I only tend to do it with the players that I actually genuinely liked. And it just pisses me off that our ownership came into this club to try and transform us. And look where we are. We've scraped past relegation, 17th in the league. You know, we've lost. How much is a place worth in the Prem? £1 million. So just by dropping 10 places, we've lost probably 9-10 million pounds. And that's why we're in such a shit state. We can't invest in any more players. And the thing that infuriates me even more was most of the errors were made down 2017, 2018. We sold Lukaku, but reinvested badly, then tried to mop up the problems in 2018 by buying a load more players. It's 4 or 5 years since then, and why are we still affected by this when it's a 3-year ruling of the losses?
It is depressing. It's depressing that basically we didn't see us getting in this situation, and they've seen us getting in this situation, but they just let it happen. And it's frustrating what they've done. But what I will say now is, whatever they've done, it's happened. And if we keep thinking about it, we're always going to end up depressed about it. We're always going to end up frustrated, because what they've done, if you look back on it, it makes you fuming. They've completely destroyed our club. They've took us from a David Moyes team that finished 6th, that had massive potential if you had money to get in the Champions League. I can remember even Ken Wright and Moshiri saying in an interview, we're going to push and get Everton trophies. No, you're bloody not. You're completely teared us apart, and we've gone downhill. And I feel like now they have put us in a bad situation. But if you dwell on the past, you're going to stay in the past. We need to move on. Whatever you've got to blanket, you've got to forget about it. Whatever our situation is now, that's what we've got to deal with.
Let's go to the content. Make sure you like and subscribe. This is Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, the channel admin, and I've got Dan, our co-host, with me this evening.
Just had a whiskey.
He's a bit down in the dumps, and I'm not surprised. The new kit's coming out tomorrow, Dan. We'll talk about that in a moment. Blue Nose WKD Dublin, who watches lots of our videos. Good evening. He's saying, Dean and now Richarlison, what a mess, despite knowing he was going. He has to be replaced with a goal scorer. Dan, I know we talked about specialist positions, but do you think it is a priority now to sign a striker, or just someone who scores goals, whether that is a Conor Gallagher coming and scoring from deep, or a wide player who scores 10 goals a season? Do you think that's the priority now with that money?
Definitely need a striker, because I've said Calvert-Lewin's going to smash it this season, and I do believe he will, but that's a chance. If he doesn't and he gets injured again, we haven't got another striker. We've got Rondon to come in, so we definitely need to strengthen up areas. We've got to be really clever on loans, and I want to see the 2 loans come in that we're allowed, because we're allowed 2 loans. I want to see 2 free transfers. We've already got Tarkowski. I'd love 2 more free transfers.
Spurs on loan.
What's that?
Pulisic at Chelsea and Bergwijn at Spurs with options to buy.
Do you like that Bergwijn or Bergwijn, whatever his name is?
I don't mind Burger King, but I prefer.
I don't like Burger King. I'm more McDonald's. I am.
But look, if he's on a loan, it's a low risk loan. I think we got to look at something like that.
But he was a big problem for Tottenham.
He scored against us. Well, that doesn't take much. Richarlison could bomb or excel at Spurs. Are we getting money for Keane? I think there's talk at the moment that Juventus want rid of Keane, but they are obliged to pay him. I mean, that's another shit deal for me. We needed the money there and then. Why are we loaning players with obligations? For me, it's just absolutely incompetence.
We're not Ryan. We're not getting that Richarlison money to spend. You know, we're not getting that with the FFP situation. We'll probably pay about 30 million of it, on probably more than 30 million to clear the FFP, and we'll have about 20 million out of it.
Why can't Bill self-sponsor the sleeve or something for £1 million?
It's hard work, isn't it? It's hard work being an Everton fan.
Hello, Dan. It's Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
You all right, Bill?
I'm fine. Listen, Dan, I've got
Yes,
some
Bill.
news for you, son.
Okay.
Well, they're selling our boy. They're selling our boy.
They're not, are they?
Yes.
Come on, Bill. Sort it out. Make the deal flop. I want to keep Richarlison. I've just had a shot for him.
Well, Dan, I've got to be honest with you. We had contact with Spurs, and they said, if you sell us Richarlison, we will give you Harry Winks. And it was too good of a deal to turn down, Dan. Too good of a deal.
Come
Especially
on, Bill.
when Rita Sullivan at the cabin in Coronation Street said, if you sell Richarlison, I'll give you a pack of sweets for free.
What sweets were they?
Toffees, of course. Dan, young Dan. Listen, Dan, we've had good times. We've had good times.
Good times?
We've had good times. And we'll probably have worse times next season. And even worse times the following season. But we've had good times.
We haven't, Bill. We haven't had good times. And I spoke to a few people on my Twitter, Bill, and they've said I should have had a go at you. You put us in a real bad situation, Bill. You've messed our club up. You butted in and think you know it all, and you don't, Bill. I've got to let it out now. I've had a drink, Bill. What you've done is wrong. You've destroyed our club.
But Dan, Blood Brothers the musical. Go and watch that.
How about Blood Brothers, Bill?
Dan, I helped Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Don't even know who Andrew Lloyd is, Bill.
Dan, you need to understand we're Everton Football Club. I sat in the boys' pen. I've seen it all.
I've seen you there, Bill. You don't care. You just want the attention.
I do. I was in Coronation Street.
Yeah, exactly. You like the attention, Bill.
Well,
it's all got to be about you, not about Everton.
Listen, this young Harry Winks, he'll set the world alight. You know, he's a good player, a very good Everton player.
Come on, Bill. Is he?
No,
is he really? Are you, Bill? I know you like your cups of tea. Are you just going on and taking that tea bag in the cup?
Harry Winks specialises in a type of football Everton fans have seen a lot.
Yeah, passing backwards.
Sideways. He's an absolute specialist, Dan. A specialist.
Sideways. Bill, seriously though, Bill, seriously. I've been wanting to speak to you for a long time. You just need to butt out, Bill. You think you know it all and you don't. You need to step back.
Would you like to speak to Farhad?
Yeah, go on then, put him on. Is he there with you?
Good evening, Dan.
Hi, Farhad.
It's Farhad Bashiri here.
You all right, Farhad?
I'm in the process of selling Calvert-Lewin for £3.50 in a bag of chips to Wimbledon.
Come on, Farhad. What are you doing? What are you doing
I'm
that for?
Also selling I'm selling Jordan Pickford to Man City so he can be their fourth choice goalkeeper. We're getting a good price.
Farhad, can I ask you a serious question, Farhad?
Yes, so you can ask Bill, actually.
Why did you get Benitez as manager, Farhad? Why did you do that?
Well, we saw an opportunity for a top coach, very good coach, to come and steady the ship.
Come on, Farhad.
Well, listen, Dan.
Bill,
I
seriously, you're going to get it, mate. I've had a drink and I'm going to have you, Bill.
I did say to Farhad not to get Rafa. You know, I've known Rafa.
I knew you would. I knew you would, Bill. I knew you wouldn't be behind that.
Well, the thing is, if we can just agree that Richarlison is a bad player, we can move on.
No, but he's a good player. You know I like him, Bill. You broke my heart, and I won't forget this, Bill.
But
Dan, we've had good times. We'll have better times in 10 to 15 years. And yes, I won't be around to see them, but you will have a good time, just probably not watching Everton Football Club.
Right, I don't want to speak to you anymore, Bill. You're making me depressed.
All right, Dan. Well,
No, Bill, I don't want to speak to you. I don't want to have
soon.
it anymore, Bill. Seriously, I'm
I'll see you soon.
disappointed. We've got to do all this, and we've got to start from scratch, and we've got to work all the way back up, Bill. Just because you and Mashiri wanted to play toy games with our club.
Poor
Denise. Denise needs to go as well. It's all a joke. It's a joke.
Denise, she's the best in her position.
What position is she? Because I don't know. What does
style.
she do? Does she fly drones around the stadium? Because I don't know what she does, Bill. I don't. I said I wasn't going to argue on the channel, Bill. And I'm going to cut this call off, Bill. I'm going to cut this call off.
A very nice cup of tea.
Put me Ryan back on. I want to cut it off, Bill. I really do. I don't want to speak to you anymore, Bill.
Goodbye.
You lure me in and you do your acting and you make me like you, and I don't want to like you. You put us in a bad situation, Bill, so I want to cut it off now.
Okay, goodbye.
Put Ryan back on. See, I told you. I'd tell him. I told you. I'm not having this from Bill Kenwright. I want things to change for Everton. And Mashiri and Bill Kenwright have had a circus going in our club. Things are going to change. Right. Anyway, that's Bill gone. Just want to say thanks to you all for tuning in. And this has been emotional because I love Richarlison, but it's happened before. You should be used to it by now, but I'm not. But we move on. Next time I play a kiss as a badge for Everton, I'm just going to be like, look away or something like that, because they kiss the badge and they don't mean it, do they? They really don't mean it. Right. Up the Toffees. We will be back. We will be strong. We're going to shoot this off now, Ryan.
Are we?
And
I've just been finding that very entertaining. I'm just going to whiz through the comments. If you want to go, that's fine.
No, stay on. I just thought you'd left me on to do say a goodbye. But
I just seen Bill Kenwright in B&M Hunts Cross. He's just passed me his phone and said, "Can you?"
He was on Ryan. Ryan, he was on the channel.
Unbelievable! What a legend!
I'm speaking to him.
What did he say?
Well, someone earlier on, when I put my video up, they said, "Why was you so nice to Bill Kenwright?" And this time, I just wasn't having it. He was just giving me all this, trying to win me over and stuff like that. And I put my foot down with him, Ryan. I did. I told him this time, and I'm proud of myself. I got it off my chest. I did. It might have took the shot of Jameson to put me in the mood to tell him, but I told him, and now I feel better.
By the way, guys, if you haven't seen the video we're talking about, it is funnier. It was a lot funnier than that. It was hysterical. I've listened about 10 times. It's on Dan's Twitter. He's at Toffee Blue. Go on his Twitter after this and watch the phone call that Dan had with Bill Kenwright this afternoon. It was hysterical. That just wasn't as good, but I'm glad there are some people who said that they found that funny, so I'm pleased to hear.
It cheered them up. A lot of people said it cheered them up, and I like that because it is some bad times. So it's good to cheer people up. Like you say, it's not a personal dig because Bill Kenwright and Mashiri own the club. They are going to get some criticism sometimes. If I did things that went wrong like they did, I would expect it. So it's just a laugh. It's kind of a laugh, but kind of serious as well, because it was good to get a few things off my chest then, Ryan, to Bill Kenwright.
And we'll try and get Frank Lampard on at some point.
Yeah, I feel like we're on an upwards curve. I think we've got some big people coming in. Lampard probably next, but who knows? You never know. We just need to get more likes and more subscribers, and we can do some really good stuff for you, because we have got a lot of people on our channel. It's not just me and Ryan. It's Yandolf, the Blue Viking, as well. We've got some cracking people, Mabsy, loads of others as well. Ryan, you want to say the names of the others? Or all me talking?
We've got a lot of comments, so we've lost a lot of them, but we'll have to whiz through these ones here that we're still. Daniel saying, a Spurs fan, I'm not really excited about Richarlison. That's quite interesting, Daniel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. What do you make of that, Dan? Do you think it's only Everton fans that really realise how good he has been, and he's kind of an underrated player by a lot of other clubs?
I think it's because he's that sort of character that frustrates a lot of people, and when he come up against a lot of teams, he frustrated them. But let's face it, if he frustrated you, he was doing something good because it was frustrating you. So I think he'll change a lot of minds of the Tottenham players when he plays for him. He's a fighter. If you've got a player that's a fighter, you're not going to not like him, because Richarlison will put 110% in for Tottenham. And if he does that, you will end up liking him. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Ian's saying it just goes to show how bad we have been run. It doesn't matter how new owners we've got. We can't spend anything under FFP. I know the new owners apparently do want to spend money, but again, how does that work? Unless they've got a massive sponsorship deal up their sleeves. And I don't know whether that deal with USM over the naming rights has been null and voided. Hayburn is saying 35 million for Gallagher that would embody everything wrong with us. Why? Can you elaborate?
No, you've got to get Gallagher. If you offer me Gallagher for 35 million and all we had was 35 million to spend in this window and I could only have Gallagher, I would still get Gallagher, because for us, our weakness was midfield. And if you put him into that midfield, I don't think it'll be our weakness anymore.
Hi Robbie, saying in all fairness, who wants to come to us at the present time? That's the problem, Dan. You know, we're getting overtaken by the likes of West Ham, Villa, Palace. You know, how do we compete? You'd argue we still play better wages, the stadium, the new stadium, the history of the club, the fans. These are all attractive things. But the best players go to the top 6, 7, 8 now, maybe even the top 10. HJA Wood, he's saying, do you think Everton will struggle to attract quality players, and how much the club struggled last season with the club's financials being a mess with Bashiri? Dan, that's for you.
Well, basically, yes, we won't get the big names that are already established. So now we've got to go back to the David Moyes, and we've got to be really, really good at having a good eye for players and getting a player that's on the up, that's going to be a world-class player. And you get him cheap, and if he turns into a cracking world-class player, that's how we're going to get our world-class players, because we're not going to be able to just go out and say, we'll pay 70 million for you because you're class. We can't do that. We've got to go out and see a 19-year-old that we think is going to be class, and then he ends up world-class at 21, and he'll be worth 70 million. That's the way we do it.
I'd argue we need a proven goal scorer, and then the rest of the money can be on young up-and-coming players. But there'll be people here saying we actually can't afford to take risks. We can't afford to take chances because we could flirt with relegation again. I fear we could end up with Barkley and Phil Jones from United. I'm not surprised. That's the kind of would be convinced.
Don't do it. Don't say that.
We can't start the season with a negative attitude. We need some serial winners. We need leaders as well.
Yes.
Wonderlist is saying we have to nail this window. The money we've bounced Richarlison for, if we can spend it.
Yeah.
Garby, Chukwueze, Doku, Dan, Juma, Mendes, young, hungry, fast and tricky players. Do they have end product? Do they score? Can they keep up with the physicality of the Prem? We need to midfield, yes. Up front, yes. Out wide, yes. Full back, yes. In goal, no. Centre half, yes. I think it's hard. You know, we need pretty much every position.
I think we've got a lot of FIFA players on here. They think we can just get anyone we want.
We've got to prioritise the signings. You know, if you look at the likes of Liverpool, City, they've all done it. Okay, maybe not City, but they add 2 or 3 players a window. They spend maybe 40 or 50 million pound a player, and they do it over time. And that's the right way of building to become an elite club. I think when you do gung ho 6, 7, 8 players like we've been trying to, and to fill gaps, it's just not worked. But we're not, we're just not in a position probably to do the above. So it's about biding time, isn't it, till we get to Bramley Moor, Dan? Getting there, and that unlocks a lot more opportunities as a club. What did people think of the new shirt that's been leaked? Sorry. I don't know, Dan, whether you can get a photo of that and upload it onto here, but I don't think you can actually. But it's got a very, very big logo, a very, very big stake logo. It kind of swallows whole kit. And the kit itself has a pattern of the St. Prince Rupert's Tower all over it, like very small. And it's quite nice. It's not very retro, but I think it will be a very big seller because of it. And it's a shame that the sponsor is just humongous. Chris is saying, as a Villa fan, please subscribe, Chris. It means a lot.
Yeah, everybody should like and subscribe. We're game for that.
Richarlison, you've made him a hero with the tweet. The big one is shit out of football. There's no loyalty in football. I mean, I'd argue that he did try and leave last summer, and we said 1 more year.
What for me though? What have you got to do to make a player stop? Like if Richarlison isn't going to stay, then no one's going to stay. That's the thing. There's no loyalty in football. It's true. I don't like it.
I think Kadeem liked the Bill Kenwright.
We're good. We're good. We've got loads more of this coming. Do you know what? We're going to have a laugh. We're going to make this channel entertaining. We've got Ryan, me, and other people on the channel. This is just the transfer window. You wait until the season starts. We are going to have a laugh on this channel. Like and subscribing. You won't regret it because we'll be talking about everything. We'll be playing against you. We'll be having banter. You'll be against us. We'll be having banter. Everyone, just like and subscribe. As many people as we can get.
It's free. It's completely free. It's interactive. Yeah. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for us. Turn the notifications off as well, especially if you're an Evertonian. Hit the subscribe and notifications bell. Moise Kean coming back as a Richarlison replacement, Dan. I mean, it's a shame, actually. We didn't have him last season. He probably would have started pretty much every game. Certainly with Calvert-Lewin being injured, it was probably the wrong time for him to go. But look, he has gone. He didn't do an awful lot at Juventus, and that's why they're trying to sift him on. They actually want to pass on the book and let another team sign him on a permanent deal and pay us. And I think the reason they're doing that is to save a loan fee, that the lowest €7 million for next season. Very interesting. P. Maka, how can you spend $500 million and just about stay up? We are better under Moyes when we didn't have a pot to piss in because we were more careful with the money, maybe. But the recruitment team, it was just David Moyes, really, wasn't it? And his scouts. Moyes hand-watched and hand-picked a lot of players. Jack the lad, skillful, strict, quick, maybe could start playing left mid and move into striker like Richarlison did. I think he's talking about Moise Kean there. Anyone know what's happened with Sigurdsson? He's gone. And to be honest, mate,
we're not really gonna. We can't really say much on that because it's one of those topics in it. We don't know what's happened, but he's gone.
Speculation. Stevie from the channel, he's gutted about Richarlison. I think a lot of people are. Keane was supposed to be the next big thing at Everton. Marco brought him in, DCL, Richarlison replacement. Yeah, I mean, it just didn't work for him. I don't know whether he quite had.
Yeah, but
you know,
one thing I will say about the Keane situation, he come to us. He wasn't what we thought he was, but at least we sold him for a good price, and there wasn't much risk because we sold him for a good price. Jack the lad. I think some of them watched that video and they like that video. I might have to upload that video on my Twitter as well because we've had a fun day today. A really, really depressing day. We've somehow made it a fun day, and I've had my shot now, so I feel good. I might go and jump in the sea at night time.
Yeah, I think people did like the Kenwright.
We've had good times. We've had good times. No, we haven't, Bill.
We've had good times, Dan. Good times, Dan.
We haven't, Bill. We haven't had good times. We haven't.
You know why, Bill? It's the spacing. You know, the spacing between sentences to exaggerate. I think it's a character.
If you dye your hair grey, you could be Bill Kenwright.
I don't know how much you can pin on him. He owns less than 1% of the club now. I know he's doing the negotiations of the Levy thing. I mean, I'll leave that for other people who are more well informed to decide.
Well, basically, I'll say this: I went on the YouTube thing earlier on, and I looked when Moshiri first come in. Bill Kenwright sat down with Moshiri, and Bill Kenwright said, "When Moshiri, I spoke to him, I knew he was the man. His football knowledge was amazing." This is what Bill Kenwright said. His football knowledge was amazing, and I knew he was the man. I thought, football knowledge, amazing, Moshiri. And then Moshiri goes, he's been to my house, I've been to his house. And the best friends, and basically them two being best friends, have been like Bill and Ben running our football club big time. Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men, I tell you, because they've done things and they've made the mess, and they both haven't got a clue. And if you get two people that haven't got a clue running a club, this is what happens. So it is their fault. Both of them.
It's bad because I really don't want to criticise, and certainly with Yandalf obviously being part of the channel, and he is a personal friend of Bill Kenwright now, and texts him, and he was invited as a guest.
I've just spoke to him
on the phone.
Yeah, just now on the channel and this morning on the phone as well. I'm best mates with him now. He keeps ringing me. He won't stop ringing me now. I think putting the phone down.
I'm going to say this and stick my neck on the line. I might lose subscribers, but I think he's a good person. I think he's a good person.
He is a good person, but he's just not run our football club right. We have to go by how he's run our football club and the input that he's had. He's done things wrong. him running our football club wrong and doing things wrong doesn't mean that I'm going to say out of Everton, he's an idiot. This should happen to him. That should happen to him. No, I don't. He might be a nice person out of football, but we've got to judge him in the workplace because, it's like my boss. He's the nicest person you'll ever meet. But when I used to work for him, he was strict and he wasn't nice to work for sometimes. You know what I mean? But he's strict and he had to do it. That's what you've got to be. And he got the workplace good. And that's what Ken Wright and them lot should have been. They should have pushed and got the workplace really good. Do you know what I mean? And got the environment good and made it good. But they didn't. That's the way it's gone. But it might turn around. We've got new owners coming in. And I did read a bit ago that the new owners that are coming in don't want Ken Wright.
Yeah, they won't. We'll come back to that in a sec. John makes a good point here, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate again because I quite try and be as neutral as possible. I would argue that Ken Wright under Moyes was brilliant. You know, at getting deals in, getting players in, your Artetas, your Pienaars, your Cahills, your Sahar, your Kubu, Lescott's, getting money for players. And I'd just say what's really been down here, and we were not expected to do anything then. We didn't have the budget. And what really has fucked everything over is the fact that Moshiri's come in with all this money. He's trusted the word of agents. He's been very easily influenced. And ultimately, Dan, it just comes down to the facts that, yeah, let's give them real amazing credit, please, for getting this stadium, for getting the site, for building what they're doing so far. And we're going to have our wonderful new stadium. So please, let's give credit to everyone involved in Everton for the stadium. But I think the problem, it's just coming down to recruitment. 100% recruitment. That is just where I have a go at them for recruitment. And since Martinez left, I think that's what's really twisted the opinion of a neutral fan and made them really pissed off with the board, with the way the club's run. Because I think under Moyes and Ken Wright, I think there was no expectation. I think they bought well, they sold well with limited money. And I think with money, they didn't have a plan. I mean, they'll say they had a plan, Balassi on the wing, Sigurdsson, in behind them, and Lukaku or Calvert-Lewin, and they'll say they had a plan.
No, do you know what they've done, Ryan?
Yeah.
Do you know what they've done? They've come in and they've showed off. It's like buying cars. They've brought loads of fancy cars that are not nice underneath the engine, and they've not lasted, and they've gone wrong. And they've not checked things over properly and seen whether it's a car that runs good and that it's worth buying. And they've just brought all fancy stuff showing off. And Ken Wright's just gone in and gone, I'll have you. And Moshiri's had input and gone, I'll have you. And I'll have you. And it's just, they didn't think it through. They should have gone in, sorted the academy. We're doing, what's happening now is what they should have done when they first come in. Because Felwell's come out. Felwell's the new sporting director. He's come and said, this needs doing, that needs doing. And already we've seen him do stuff that should have been done a long time ago.
But why is he clever with player negotiations and transfers?
Yeah, we've been clever now. For the first time, I feel like Everton have actually gone through the financial situation only because of FFP. And let me point this out. You should look at the financial situation every season. So with this financial situation, and people say it's because of the Ukraine thing, the financial situation was bad before the Ukraine thing. That has made it a bit worse. But we have had some people that have allowed more things because it's happened. So it isn't just because of that. The financial situation was bad before that. And every year they should have looked at it. And every year they have. And they've looked at the financial situation and just thought, we're going to get Champions League and then it'll be better. And took the big risk. We don't want you to take that risk. We'd rather you be clever and sort our club out and not take the risk. And they've done that every season and we're paying for it now. That's what I think.
We'd have been better off signing one £60 million player who was world class and adding one of them every season and building and doing it gradually than buying 6-7 players at 20 million each and them all being flops. More comments coming in. SM, hi SM. Subscribe, please, if you haven't already. I think we should prioritise 2 midfielders and a striker. I imagine the problem is that we need a midfielder who can play, make and pass and take the set pieces because we don't have anyone who can do that. We need a defensive midfielder because Alan looks like his legs have been shot and Gabamin wasn't particularly good in Russia, to be honest, and I think we're going to struggle to get rid of him. And Gomez is finished, so we've got problems in midfield, haven't we? With defensive midfielders and also playmakers. Then you'd argue we need more goals from midfield.
Yeah, you've got to cross your fingers, haven't you? Because Gallagher's there, cracking player. Ericsson, we don't know what's going to happen. Probably go Man United or Brentford, I don't know. But if we could land on Ericsson, it would be a cracking move. And who knows, if Everton say, we'll give you all the free kicks, we'll let you do everything you want and you'll be our main player, we might be a draw for him. We have to just cross our fingers because the transfer market, when you haven't got money, is look.
You're crackling.
Oh, I'm gone, man. I'm done.
You're done.
Oh.
What happened to your headset?
Yeah, my phone, no charger. All gone, mate.
Okay. All right, Dan. Oh, we lost Dan. What a shame. We're wrapping things up in a moment anyway. Hi, Mike. How are you, mate? Hope you're well. This is Be Happy Top 10. I'll be happy with top 17 at the moment. Bri. Live Avid. Hi, mate. Ken Wright was never going to be the answer to our problems. I'd rather Ken Wright than Peter Johnson. I mean, Ken Wright bought the club when you didn't have to have a lot of money to buy a football club. But nowadays, even a billionaire isn't quite good enough. You need to be a multi-billionaire. And FFP is an interesting one because it stops clubs from investing. I mean, for me, all it's done is created a bigger gap between the top six, which have got the revenues, and the clubs that want to grow and challenge. Because I don't doubt that the league would be in a healthier place, if you could invest. But, it's in place to stop owners taking clubs into administration. Look, they voted. But yeah, I've completely lost my trail of thought. I've been on here for a little while now. John saying Alan Ball transfer to Everton for Arsenal. John, how old are you, if you can remember that? Would you say Richarlison is up there with that? I mean, I would argue it isn't. But you've having seen both, you can let me know. DCL is saying we should go and play to his strengths with wingers. I agree, Barry. We didn't cross the ball all season. We lost Sigurdsson and Dean, who were playmakers who could cross. And now we're losing Richarlison. It is just infuriating, isn't it? And just before we go, Rich shows us saying about the shirt. I think the shirt's nice. I prefer retro designs, to be honest with you, than these modern shirts. But I think it's going to go down popular. I just think the only negative with that is the sponsorship. The logo looks really big and quite overpowering, if true. Let me know what you think, guys. Right, that's all. We have been on here for over an hour now. It was really nice to have Dan on earlier. Look, Richarlison's gone. In summary, yes, it's annoying because he's one of the better players. He's one of a few players at the club who are actually decent, who the fans connect with, who the fans like. Yes, it sucks because we're not getting an awful lot of money for him considering what we paid and what we have to give Watford. And yes, it sucks because I don't know whether we'll be able to reinvest that money. But ultimately, we can't stand in the way of a player that wants Champions League, that wants to do something with his career whilst we are flirting with relegation and we probably are 3-4 years away from being able to compete. And we don't even have the money to do that in the short term. So you can't blame him. You can thank him. You can be upset. You can be annoyed. You can be frustrated. We're all entitled to feel that way. But at the end of the day, there's not an awful lot we can do about the situation. We just have to rebuild and really pray and hope that we have a plan. Ironically, I do think the ideal replacement was Luis Diaz, who was available last summer and probably should have looked to move Richarlison on then and brought in Diaz. But it's funny how the world works. There are players out there that will be able to get. It's just, can we spend that money? If not, I think we're really going to struggle next season. But we'll wait and see. I think the free transfer market is out there. There are loans, there are players, and we just hope we can do some good business before. I think the players are back at training tomorrow, aren't they? And the kit reveal. So let's try and stay positive for now. Thanks for watching and listening to Ryan. Please like the video if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. If you're on Twitter, make sure you go over to YouTube and subscribe. And if you haven't already subscribed and you're watching over on YouTube, hit the subscribe button for us. Let's try and get up to 2,000 subscribers. It would mean a lot. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. All the best. And we'll be back soon. Take care.